I first want to start out by letting you know that I am a certified instructor with the American Red Cross, and I thank Pastor Epps for his help in getting my equipment so I can get started years and years ago. Thank you, Pastor, for that. Anyway, let me start out by saying that the Earth is made up of four basic layers. There's a solid outer layer, which is called a crust. Then there's an almost solid mantle. It's like a liquid, well, it's a solid mantle. And then there's a liquid outer core and a solid inner core. And this solid core and the crust on the outside and the mantle are made up of what's called the lithosphere. And the lithosphere is not a continuous layer that wraps around the Earth. It's like made up of giant puzzle-like pieces that are called tectonic plates.
Mm.
And those plates are continuously moving around the mantle of the Earth. And then this nonstop movement causes stress on the Earth's crust. Okay, and when that stress gets too large, it leads to cracks that are called faults. And so an earthquake is the sudden movement of the Earth's crust at a fault line. And California has several of these fault lines. So wherever there's a fault line and wherever it's centered at, like when the earthquakes, that's called a epicenter. The epicenter of an earthquake is usually where the jolting starts at that fault line. The one that runs basically through California, the largest one that runs through California is called the San Andreas Fault. And so that San Andreas Fault is very large. It stretches miles and miles. And then what happens is it's one of the major earthquakes. And so they've had one in 1857. They had one in 1906. Both of those were 7.8 magnitude. 1957, they had a magnitude 5.7. And in 1989, the magnitude was 6.9. The most recent has been in 2004. And that magnitude, we were lucky, it was only 5.0. So we're thinking that, most folk in California think there's going to be another big one. And it probably is. And it's probably going to be somewhere that's the epicenter of the San Andreas Fault. So, but you got to remember, it's very, very important during the onset of an earthquake. As soon as you feel the shaking begin, immediately you should drop, cover, and hold on tight. You want to try to cover your head, because that's the part that would get hit first with, anything coming down off of shelves or whatever. But cover your head, and hold on tight until the shaking stops. Remember, like I said, to protect your head, and don't try to get in a doorway, because doorways are not considered safe. You want to try to get under a table, a desk, or some other sturdy piece of furniture that will cause you to have better protection and cover. And the things that you'll need to properly prepare for an earthquake, start with having your surroundings safe and prepared. A safety plan needs to be in place for your whole household and for those that live with you, or for those that work with you, or like these meetings that we have. We have to have someone that's regularly around, get everything prepared before an earthquake. It's an important fact here that in every home or workplace, that on a or a regular meeting, there should be an individual or some individuals trained in responding to emergencies. Um, you should be knowing how to do at least adult and pediatric first aid and CPR for the adult, the child, and the infant and properly be able to use a AED, which is an automatic external defibrillator, which in case someone is having a heart attack and their heart stops, you can put the electrodes on them and actually jolt their heart back into working again. And you need to be trained in that too as well. You should have periodic earthquake drills to ensure that everyone will do what's in your set plan. And your set plan should include how to get out of your house or your building that you're working in, or a church or wherever. And you need to have some sort of emergency go pack to go with, especially if you're in your home. You need to know where to meet, who to call out of state. You need to have someone out of state that everyone has that number and can call that person to say this is where they are. so that you don't lose anybody. You don't panic and try to figure out where someone is. Um, you need to know whose job it's going to be to turn off your gas and your water and your lights, the electricity and stuff. You need to have someone knowing who's going to take charge in case of an emergency. You need to place flashlights in known spots. Like we have flashlights on our dresser in the bedroom, so that if we get up, we have to get out of there, we can just flip the flashlight on and we can see our way out. We have them in other places in the house too. So strategically place flashlights where you can find them on your way out in an emergency. Because if the electricity does go out on its own, you're not going to be able to see unless you have a flashlight. And you need to have batteries. You need to check it. Check your flashlights often to make sure that your batteries are working in there. And don't forget your pets when you get ready to run out the door. Your pets are probably going to be afraid too. So you might have to try to figure out where Barney's laying down at, and grab him up and go with him too. Anyway, to the thing about the emergency preparedness kits, your backpacks, you need to prepare your go pack for everyone in your residence, not just for yourself, but for everyone. You need to have a first aid kit, non-perishable food and water, sturdy shoes, clothes, a jacket, flashlight with changeable batteries. A good radio would be one that runs without batteries, but that you can charge up. But if you have to, make sure you have batteries for that one too. I wear glasses, so I have an extra pair of glasses in my go pack, a small blanket, and always have a whistle in every bag you make, or in every emergency kit you make. You want to have a flat whistle in case you're stuck somewhere. You want someone to be able to find you. You'll have your whistle to blow. Make sure you have some toiletries, washcloth, hand towel, something like that. Enough medicine to last for at least 72 hours. A lot of us are on medications. And so if you're not just taking vitamins, you need to have your medicine. You need to have some money, because you don't know if the banks are going to be working with their ATM machines or whatever. You need to have a portable cell phone charger that's charged, because a lot of people have cell phones that the battery runs down on them. You also need to have a charger. And remember that charger also, the battery runs down on it. So you need to charge it periodically to make sure. You can have yourself a bio pen, a notepad in there. And if you have kids or elderly people and pets, you need to personalize their bags depending on what they might need. Especially your pet, you got to have what you need for that one too, and he doesn't wear shoes, but you're going to have stuff in there that the dog needs, right? Or the cat needs, or whatever. And it should be kept beside your bed, and make sure you personalize it. And make a go envelope too. You should have a couple of different envelopes made up with copies of stuff like your homeowner's insurance policy, insurance cards, birth certificates, etc. You got to have your identifications cards or driver's license. Immunization cards, really important right now, because some of us have been vaccinated for the COVID vaccine, with the COVID vaccine, and you might need to prove that you've had it in order to get, help from certain places. You can't even go into certain places sometime now without having that proof. So make sure you have that in there. You got to have a list of all your prescriptions and their doses. Some of the things that you might consider putting into, but are not limited to, your big go bag, or backpack, or not backpack, I'm sorry, a container for your home. Like in your house, you should have, like in the garage, you should have a big, either a bucket, a basin, some sort of box or something with emergency preparedness items in it for your consumption to keep you sustained. You might want to have some canned milk. We drink coffee. Have some bottled coffee, some bottled tea, cereal bars, protein bars, canned fruit, canned vegetables, dried nuts and stuff. The vacuum sealed tuna, we were just talking about that a few minutes ago. The vacuum sealed tuna, salmon, and chicken are great. Canned salmons, canned sardines, they kind of unroll. You can use those. Crackers, chips, cookies, rice cakes, pretzels, peanut butter, jarred pickles. Remember that some of these items may have expiration dates. And so you should be either rotating them out or changing them for fresh items periodically. The other thing that you might want to have nearby is your a couple of fire extinguishers, because you don't know what's going to happen. So by your bin of food and stuff, you might want to have a couple of small fire extinguishers so that in case there's a fire, a couple people can grab it up and and use them. And some things to remember for your first aid kit consideration include, but are not limited to, various size adhesive rolls, gauze, different pads and rolls, some calamine lotion, hand sanitizer, sunscreen, disposable gloves, scissors, Tylenol or Advil or Aleve, depending on what you can or can't take, cold and flu medication, a first aid book, and you need to have the numbers of your doctors and some emergency contacts, antibiotic ointments, instant cold compresses, eye wash, rubbing alcohol. And if you got eye wash, you need to have your eye cup. You need to have it. It needs to be attached to the bottle so it's sterile. Sunburn ointment, ace bandages, tweezers, antacids, laxatives, band-aids, antiseptic spray, hydrocortisone cream, peroxide, sterile saline solution in case you got to rinse out a cut, some cotton ball swabs, bulb syringes for maybe a baby's nose or whatever, a thermometer, antihistamines, anti-diarrhea medication, and like I said, your emergency contact. You can always add stuff to your first aid kit, and you can take some of these things out. It's not, it's not mandatory that you have it all, but think what you might need and put that in there. Your home preparations. Beside every exit, there should be tools. So, like maybe a little small duffel bag that's rolled up underneath a window, behind a plant stand or something. You should have something in there in case the doors are jammed when you get ready to go out of it. There might be a chance that your doors or your windows won't open. So in that bag, you should have at least maybe a crowbar, maybe a hammer, the screwdriver, and the wrench, because you got to turn off your stuff too. So you're going to leave out the door with that. You could think of what you might need to have in your emergency go bag, the tool bag. While we all live in California, so we know there's going to be earthquakes. Doors and windows shift while shaking, making it possible or impossible to open them. So once your shaking stops, be sure that you can actually get out of a door, even if it's not, if it's not a major earthquake, it just rumbles over. You say earthquake, it's like, okay, and everybody goes to sit back down at the table and go on about their, their daily eating, because we're so used to having these little small earthquakes. But don't do that. Don't go sit down and relax. Go make sure that you can actually open your door. Go make sure that your windows actually open and close. Make sure that your fans, overhead fans, are not, in each of the other rooms. Walk around your house and check it to make sure that none of the fans have fallen down. Make sure that there's no smoke coming from them or whatever, because you don't want to be thinking that it's okay because it was a small earthquake. You might have a serious emergency going on and not know it. If you don't check, you could be in some serious trouble. So you need to place your tools where they're going to be easily accessible. That way, if there is something wrong, you can run back out and grab your bag. And all homeowners and people who are in charge of wherever you're living at need to know how to turn off your gas. You need to know how to turn off the water and the electricity. There's outside of my home, we have a box where you can go out there and turn everything off. And we have the thing outside the house here where you can just turn off all the water for the whole home. They need to be turned off. And then you need to be able to earthquake proof your home. And it's not just earthquake proof, it's earthquake and emergency disasters, because we got fires and stuff out here too. But the main thing is, if you're going to get your home ready for an earthquake, there's some things that you got to do, because there's mild to violent shaking during an earthquake in your home, and things can dangerously move. And you definitely need to know that you're going to be okay, because if you're walking from here to there and there's an earthquake, it starts, it's not going to fall on you if it's bolted down. So there's some things that you can do. You can bolt down TVs and stands. TVs can have Velcro on the bottom of them. The stands can be bolted to the wall with soft cloth. and the screws that go into the wall. That holds them in place so that they don't actually tremble a lot. It might shake, but it's not going to come down. You can put those kind of soft cloths and straps or wall studs on your refrigerator, your stoves, your dressers, your water heaters, your bathroom stands, and your lamps. And even the vases on your shelf can become projectiles. So you want to put a piece of Velcro on the table and a piece of Velcro on the actual vase and lamps, and that way they won't just shoot off the table at you. And picture vases, I'm sorry, picture frames as well. You can actually put a strip of Velcro at the bottom of it and put it on the table so it doesn't rock during an earthquake, because they have glass in it. It becomes even more dangerous. Bolt down items that can be bolted down. Velcro stuff that needs to be Velcroed. Cabinet doors can be installed with latches so that the cabinets don't, shake and open and, have dishes thrown out of the cabinets because it's not securely closed. And it's a good idea to move mirrors and wall hangings away from where you're sitting. If there's an earthquake while you're sitting down watching TV and there's a picture right beside you, you have a tendency to have that maybe jump off the wall. There's a possibility that the lamp could fall towards you. The picture can come at you. The glass vase, this is glass, it could come off at you. The picture frame on the table could come at you. It has glass in it. So make sure you move all glass and plants and vases and stuff like that. Move that away from where you're sitting and where you sleep. And from your work area too, because if we're sitting at, like I'm sitting here right now, I have a glass sitting in front of me. I can grab this little glass of water, but if there was a big vase sitting here and a desk, I'm in a desk with a big laptop and all this other stuff, I can't grab everything at one time. So make sure that you secure your stuff and check for damages and injuries that need immediate attention immediately after an earthquake. And when it's safe to do so, make sure you follow your emergency plan that you have set. Make sure that everyone's doing what they need to do. One of the major things that every household should have is a generator. A whole house generator can power all of your home's major appliances, including your refrigerator, your alarm system, your garage door, your water heater, and more. So having this power during the outage means that your electronics, such as your computers, your laptops, your cell phone, some people are on oxygen, their oxygen systems, nebulizers, and other electronically powered items will also be charged because you have this home generator. When they're not in use, they can be stored in your closet. They can be stored out at the garage. They're sold at Home Depots or Lowe's, or you can order them online and they'll deliver it right to your house. Don't forget your car supplies. A second go pack. Helen and I were talking about it a little while ago. The things that we have in our car. Make sure you have that stuff at your disposal in your car. And everyone should have at least a gallon of water a day for 3 days in your car and in your home per person. Every person needs to be considered when you're making up a go pack or an emergency, preparedness plan for an earthquake or other disasters. You need to have a first aid kit in your car. You need to have jumper cables in your car. Your car cell phone charger needs to be charged that's in your car, because after the car runs out of gas, and some cars don't even charge your stuff when they're not started. So that's another thing. You need to keep always keep your gas tank full too. But your flashlight and batteries, a blanket and some pillows, and maybe some safety flares. Definitely always have the flashlight, batteries, and have a radio in your car with batteries for that too, because if your car is not working, still have your radio. And the reason why you want to keep your gas tank on more than halfway full, because during an earthquake, some of the pumps might be, the gas stations in your area might have been damaged as well, and you can't get gas. And so you might need to get out of town. You might need to go, go to as close as Arizona or Las Vegas to get away from where we're at here, because of an earthquake. So you need to have your car, um, you know, filled at least halfway. And it's kind of easier to fill your tank up from halfway to full than it is from, zero to full. It costs more, it takes more gas. And there might not be that much gas when you go to the gas station. There might be rations. So you have to be prepared for that too. So that's basically all the stuff that I have for your earthquake preparedness stuff. But I will accept questions, and if there's anything else that you guys want to talk about or add to it that I might have forgotten,